recognize when I have a lane. I got the ball and I got to take it. Well, life is like that too. You have to recognize your purpose opportunities and jump on them and attach faith to them right away. So your eyes are for to see vision, see opportunity, to enjoy the beauty and the things that God's given you to your life. But your eyes are not for lust. Uh, your eyes are not to how could I say not used to make people feel bad. You know what I mean by that. It says a lying tongue. And my wife did a good job of talking about that last week. uh, so just a lying tongue. Uh, see, so our tongue is designed to speak the truth in love. Because the truth frees not only us, but the people around us. But imagine deception and lie. So you're not affording the people around you to serve you properly because they're not serving the truth, they're serving a lie. So if they have something that's designed to be given to a particular person and you you fake that person, they're giving you something that really was earmarked for someone else because you're living a lie. Or they may be giving you something out of the season of the life in which you can handle it. So they can be giving you something to hurt you. Like, for example, they can give you a promotion because you've manipulated your way. Somebody took all the tests. Somebody's actually doing all your reports. Somebody's actually doing all your organization at the crib. But you're presenting as if you're doing it. So now they keep elevating you, and they keep looking every day. Everybody's asking, why did they promote this person? Because under pressure, you can't bring your undercover team. You actually have to do the job. Like, I don't know if y'all remember the movie Catch Me If You Can. This dude was an airline pilot, but I remember when he was the surgeon, that was my best part because he would go to surgeries like a nurse such and such, you can handle it, but one day he had to perform surgery. And that's the day he quit because he couldn't even stand the sight of blood. And I had a pastor say to me, this is a gentleman that worked at the church, he was a minister. He says, you know what? He says, this guy can get any job. He said, right now he can come in this hospital and get a job as an administrator. But when it's time for him to perform, he'll lose it. He can't keep any job, but he can get any job. Because, you can manipulate your way to anything. You manipulate your way to something, it will always be temporary. All right, so the lying tongue, it says hands that shed innocent blood. That's pretty obvious. A heart that devises wicked schemes. Think about sitting around using all your intellect and your witty inventions and your wisdom to come up with schemes to hurt people or to sabotage somebody else's dreams, because of envy and jealousy. Imagine that. Imagine just figuring out a way to intimidate people or to ruin someone's reputation. So you're using energy you could be using to elevate in purpose to tear down somebody's purpose. So, we already know you reap what you sow. It says, and feet that are quick to rush to evil. Now, this is not a person slipping into evil. This is a person leaping at evil, right? It says a false witness, who pours out lies. A false witness constantly misrepresenting people just, you figure you tear them down, you elevate. Or you just hate. And then I wrote it down different than sowing discord among the brethren, but a man who stirs up dissension among his brothers. Man, how does that look? You constantly passing the negative around. Because you feel good when someone's doing bad. Or when you hear something bad, so you run in the... Can you believe what such and such did? Minister Lamar did? I don't know why Minister Lamar is doing that. Then you ain't talked to Minister Lamar at all. It's sowing discord. Because then, or Zipporah says something crazy to you last week, or at least you perceived it that way. You didn't talk to her. You didn't go, okay, when you said that, I'm going to tell you how it affected me. You can tell me what you intended. You didn't have that conversation. You just walked away and go, she, I always thought she was, what was it? Bougie anyway. Right? Right? And her husband be called a bougie. Right? And so now you pass that on and you tell someone else, don't you think Sephora's bougie? You can't believe it. Let me tell you what she did to me the other day. I mean, she started kicking around her shoes like they was all that, right? So then you guys go on a retreat and you room with Sephora. Have wonderful conversation. You go, well, she's pretty cool. So now you done made up. But what you said about her done spread like cancer. Not just in the church, it's all over Charlotte. So let's say about a year and a half later, somebody comes up to Sephora and says, you're a pretty nice person, but I thought you was bougie. Like, I just met you. Why would you think I'm bougie? Well, I have a friend, Pam. And, she told me you was bougie. Now, you figure you and Pam's cool. Like, Pam, I can't believe Pam said that, but that was a year and a half ago. Just created all types of discord. When it was just been better, Pam, to go up to Sephora and go, now listen, are you bougie? You don't have to look it up, just look in the mirror. I'm playing. That was a joke. That was just a joke. Because the husband be picking with her. All right, so those are the Proverbs, the Bible's list of 7 sins. There's more than 7 sins that we'll get into. Well, I gave you a couple before that. But there's a Pope Gregory, the Great, in the 16th century. He listed 7 sins, and this is the ones you probably see on the movies and TV. Pride, envy, gluttony, lust, anger, greed, and sloth. So those you heard, that wasn't necessarily something somebody pulled. They're in the Bible, but they didn't pull those out. He established those, and so that's when you start to hear, even when, in the movie, the seven deadly sins. That's where those came from. All right. The key to this is all sin. The wages of sin is death. Romans 6:23. So the wages are a payment. So you can rest assured, the reason why you want to be suckered into sin is because the payment for sin, like you get paid for sin. Think about that, Marcus. You get paid for sin. And the payment you get is death. But it says the gift of God is eternal life. Look, it's a gift. Like, it's not at a cost. So you if you don't want that payment, then I wouldn't. I mean, it's just my opinion. It's something I want to offer to you. I wouldn't walk into sin. All right, and then sin. Another thing that when we talk about sin is trespassing off of God's values and His perfect will. So you hear transgress or trespass. Forgive us our trespasses, right? So you think about no trespassing, right? That means you're stepping into an area that you shouldn't be stepping into. It could cause you something, and we know it because no trespassing. Dogs, beware of dog or something. But it's the same thing. Beware of Satan's dogs and demons, when you start to trespass. So you'll as we're going through this, you'll hear words like trespass. Each time we sin or disobey or transgress or trespass or commit sin, a lot of times, most of the time, it's a sin of commission. So that's through direct disobedience. That's you sinned. That's not, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. That's a sin? Man, I ain't even know that was a sin. Right? So that's commission. And it's not, you can commit sins of commission, and it's not about our regular wrongs and rights, or we just went through a list of sins. It's not being obedient. So it's not about necessarily, you can get caught up, it's not necessarily about if you did the wrong thing. And this is why you have so many different levels of people wondering, I don't understand why this is happening to me. right? Because they're going, well, I ain't shot nobody, as if it was an option. Yeah, because I was thinking all week, I mean, I was tempted to shoot somebody, and I went through the whole week and didn't kill nobody, right? Or I ain't stole from nobody, so was that the goal this week? Like, like you, man, I'm fasting from stealing from people, right? So, but you almost give yourself a pass because there's so much. With 2015, there's a lot of obvious sins that you might want to call deadly. The way what people are doing. So you go, I'm not doing those things, and you almost give yourself a pass. But when we talk about sin, we're not just talking about if you do okay, don't do wrong. But let's emphasize more on doing right, being obedient. So the key is if Satan's thing was disobedience. The thing is, and obedience is not about slavery. It's about harmony. Okay, again, obedience is not about slavery or even lordship. It's about harmony. Every time we're obedient, we're in line with what God's plan is. So that means we get fulfilled, right? And God gets his plan taken care of. He gets fulfilled. He's pleased because God set up this great plan. You think about you guys do it, maybe at the house. I was talking to someone earlier, and they said we set up our goals for the kids. Well, if everybody completes their goals, the house is happy. Everybody rolling, right? Everybody completed their goals. But imagine if somebody decides, I don't think I'm going to do that. It changes the whole flow of the house, right? So obedience is about what? Harmony. Because everything flows. And me and my wife, we agreed to something like when the Lord told us it was time to come out here, and she got some offer, and she was like, yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this thing up. And I was vexed. I was like, how do I say what I want to say? Because we've been living in Columbus and acting out this longer than we've been even considering what God told us about Charlotte. Charlotte is still a concept right now. But I said, babe, how does what you're doing, line up with what God told us? See, it was about obedience. So if we would have did what she wanted to do, we would have committed sin because we wasn't obedient. See, and we'd have been reading all our scriptures. We'd have been praising and worshiping the Lord and serving in the kingdom the whole time, and stuff would have been happening, and we'd have wondered why. Think about Jonah. I just read through Jonah in my daily reading, and Jonah's, God bless his heart. But God told him to go to Nineveh, and the scripture says Jonah decided he caught a ship to go somewhere else. And so he caught the ship. Now look, he wasn't killing nobody. He wasn't stealing. Right? He just decided to get on a ship. And so the ship rocking and rolling, Jonah was asleep. Everybody else was like, okay, what did you do? You do right by your God? You do right by your God? Did you throw up fire? Did you cut yourself 3 times? And then the guy comes down and says, Jonah, what are you doing? He says, man, you need to call on your God too. Man, you see this storm out here? Maybe something happened with you and your God that's causing this. And so then the guy, he thought about it. He said, wait a minute. What do you do for a living? Like, who are you and what do you do and where you from? And when he starts saying where you from, he says, well, actually, I serve the God that created the seas and the heavens and everything. He said, well, actually, he said, they said, let us draw lots. So they drew lots, and it fell on Jonah. It's like, okay, come on, man. Talk to us. What did you do? He says, well, actually, I'm the reason. He says, so throw me overboard. Look, he ready to die. Look, no, I don't want to hurt nobody else. Think about his deed. These guys that are not living for God, I'm willing to die for them. And you would say, that's so noble. But was it obedient?